Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is January 5th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. Got to see California right here. Check out the next system rolling in here. It's going to clip portions of Northern California and bring a little bit of precipitation with that. But the big weather event coming up here is the high pressure dropping down across the Great Basin. Going to kick some strong offshore winds and bring some fire danger here, especially across Southern California. We'll take a look at the latest with that and dive into those details as we go through the video this morning. So right now you can kind of see that frontal system off the coastline. Operator just starting to pick up a little bit of that precipitation off the Oregon coast there, and again clipping northern portions of California. Not too big of a deal, but this is also going to kind of interact with kind of a modified Arctic front. It's moving across Nevada and Utah and may back up against some of the Sierra Nevada here and bring a few inches of snowfall, especially some of the east slopes of the Sierra Nevada. And then there's going to be somewhat of a low pressure system there. It's going to bring some precip, looks like, back into Arizona, maybe New Mexico. Right now it's not looking too great for Southern California getting any kind of precipitation out of that initial modified push of some Arctic air as that higher pressure moves back in across the Great Basin. So taking a look here, we didn't have any storm reports across California yesterday. Fairly quiet here across the region. You can see there were some wind reports there across portions of Arizona. And what is going on is there is a sneaker wave potential here for some of the coastal areas, National Weather Service Bay Area and Eureka National Weather Service calling attention to this, kind of highlighted by the long period, the long interval between the waves as they reach the coastline there. So heads up for that if you're going out towards the beaches here for the next couple of days. Sneaker waves, rip currents out there. You guys know the drill. Don't turn your back on the ocean. So taking a look, this was updated yesterday, but still applies. This is from 10 a.m. Tuesday to 6 p.m. Friday. We could have multiple rounds of offshore winds as we go through the 10-day period also. And you see that we're dealing with some pretty strong wind gusts, low relative humidities, and there hasn't been much rainfall to speak of across much of Southern California. So, of course, this fire danger is going to be top of the list. Now, the high wind watch here for Los Angeles National Weather Service talks about the north winds 25 to 40, gusts to 65 miles per hour, and could even damage some trees and blow down some power lines and whatnot. So heads up for that. Again, Tuesday afternoon through late Wednesday night coming up. San Diego, higher terrain. You can see just off to the east, the I-5 corridor there. Look at this isolated gust to 75. Again, Tuesday night through 4 a.m. Thursday, and we'll take a look at the latest on that in the weather models here in a moment. And just a reminder, when you are out and about traveling, the Caltrans map here, just go ahead and Google Caltrans, a very good resource here for checking out incidences and chain controls and road closures and things of that nature. So looking at Las Vegas National Weather Service, some gusty winds, north winds, wind damage, you can see coming down, and it's going to include some of the desert areas as well, and that's showing up here on Phoenix National Weather Service. They do cover portions of Arizona. That's why I show Phoenix at times. Localized blowing dust, minor, maybe even some moderate impacts here. It's going to be some crosswinds across some of the interstates there. And this was updated just after midnight this morning. This is Tucson also talking about that pattern change as well. So we're going to have some precipitation chances across some portions of Arizona. I'll show you more on that here in a bit. Now looking at 80-meter wind speeds. So if I scroll through here, you notice the winds are going to start to move down out of the northeast and the north across the higher terrain of Northern California first. You can see it moving down into Sacramento Valley there. Starts to blow across the Sierra Nevada out of the northeast, and some Diablo winds here. But we're not too worried about fire danger here, Bay Area north and whatnot, because we have gotten better precipitation amounts. But look at the wind really howling out of the northeast across the Sierra Nevada. Starts to really pick up as we go through Tuesday morning across Southern California. The desert areas get very windy also. That northeast, north wind across a lot of Nevada through the desert areas. Of course, powerful winds through the gaps, and low relative humidities, and any fires they get going could potentially rapidly spread. Now, if we look at just off the surface, about 2,500 feet on the most recent European model, put this into motion, and you'll see things start to turn offshore. Again, Monday night into Tuesday morning across the Sacramento Valley, some north gusty winds, and the Sierra Nevada starts to get ripping here as we go through Tuesday morning. Southern California will be full in effect by the time we go through Tuesday later morning as well, in the desert areas. And this could be a reoccurring theme. I mean, look at, we scroll out towards Thursday, still offshore component there, and we scroll off in towards the weekend. Again, another round of some offshore winds showing up at times, and that kind of continues all the way on through 200 plus hours out. I mean, this is all the way next week, and you're still dealing with some offshore winds. So hopefully, any new fire starts are kept to a minimum. I mean, gosh, we're scrolling over 10 days out, and it still shows some of these offshore winds continuing to be with us here across much of the state. And if I pulled a sounding here from Ontario, the red line is the temperature. This is looking at the profile here, the thermodynamic profile, 39,000 feet there. And of course, we live down here at the surface. But look at the big dew point depression. So very dry air. And you can see the wind barbs there, very strong winds all the way up, the entire column of the atmosphere out of the northeast. And then you can kind of see them northeast as you get a little bit closer to the surface there. But yeah, very dry conditions, strong winds well up through the column of the atmosphere. Going to bring some pretty strong winds across much of Southern California. And I kind of stopped here on the afternoon of Tuesday. Look at some of these relative humidities into the single digits. It's absolutely very dry air across the region at times for the next week plus. And if we take a look at what is going on here, I mean, we've just been dealing with these inside sliders. So check it out. There's the first one there, and this is going to be a reoccurring theme. You can see these systems. This is not the southwest track that brings the stormy weather into California. As you see these polar lobes going to just moving down across the southwest USA. It doesn't look like it's going to be letting up anytime soon. And you can imagine it's just going to enhance the precipitation deficit across a lot of Southern California, and it's going to dry things out for the rest of the state here as well. I'll show you that here in a moment on the latest anomaly maps. But if we look at the European 12Z run, so here we go with the system. It's clipping Northern California and then kind of this modified Arctic front moving down across Utah and Nevada, potentially backing up against the Sierra Nevada there as we go on in through Tuesday morning. But then that comes to an end. Some precipitation again across Arizona as we go through the day Tuesday. You can kind of see it spinning out there in New Mexico, maybe some snow for the higher terrain there also. But again, California, a big precipitation deficit coming here as we go through the next 2-week period. It looks like as I scroll off into the future, I mean, wow, you just have no systems at all to find out here. Then maybe something develops at the very end that could start to include California. Who knows about that? It's 15 days out. And the GFS is something similar here as well. There goes that Arctic front dropping down, and then some precipitation mainly for central and eastern portions of Arizona and New Mexico. And not a lot of precipitation starting to. It was showing up a little bit here better for Southern California, but that is not the case in the most recent runs. And then you can see as we just continue to plow off into the future, I mean, just no precipitation in sight for much of California as we go through the 15-day period there. And maybe something at the very fantasy stage of the GFS run. Don't put any stock in that. 16-day precipitation anomaly in the west coast of North America, clearly below average. European hot off the presses, exact same signal as the GFS. So this is 6 to 10-day temperature outlook. There's precipitation. That makes sense from what we just looked at, right? And then you can say 8 to 14-day. And again, that makes sense as well. And we'll see about that above average across some of extreme southeast California. But yeah, anyway, strong winds are incoming here. We'll take a look tomorrow. We'll take a look at tomorrow for the wind speeds and get a little bit more detail with that on the high resolution models and whatnot. We still have a little bit of time. Looks like this is coming in as we go through very late Monday night, tomorrow night. So tomorrow morning, we'll take another look at this, but the strong winds are on the way. Big precipitation deficits here. And hopefully we eventually get some storm systems back into Southern California, because you don't want to get off in towards the spring without getting at least some moisture here. That would not be good as we head into the dry summer months for much of the state. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Otherwise, click like and subscribe. We will do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.